Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for being here this morning. I'm Dave Schmidt, the Executive Director of Mill Creek Alliance, and this is our 4th annual Canoes and Conversations. Thanks. This event is so special. It brings together so many of our friends and allies and partners in the community to share a vision of what the restored Mill Creek can mean for our entire greater Cincinnati community. I want you to get out on your adventures. I want you to enjoy them, but I also want you to think today about what we all can do together to keep this momentum going, both in restoring the stream itself and in using it as a catalyst to restore our watershed communities and our watershed neighborhoods. It truly can be a path to bringing so many benefits to some communities that have been underserved in our watershed for so long. And the benefits of it, which we'll talk a little bit more about later, can be tremendous. None of what we have accomplished to date and none of what we can accomplish together in the future can be done without champions of the Mill Creek in local government. And I'm honored this morning to invite to the podium one of our friends who has become a true champion of Mill Creek and the watershed and our watershed communities, Councilmember Mark Jeffries.
Dave warned me of that, so I'm coming up this way. How many people have not been out on the Mill Creek here canoeing or kayaking? Awesome. You guys are in for, especially at this section, just such an amazing treat. And this is the most fun group. I mean, how many groups do you have where people are wearing hats like this? I mean, it's just amazing. So just a couple of quick comments. This is a story of resilience, the Mill Creek, and of real hope. I mean, you think about where it's been, where we are now, and where it could be. Where it's been, this was one of the most endangered bodies of water in the country, years ago. And through work of a lot of volunteers, people here, not myself, it's come to a place where on average is as clean as the Little Miami. So you'll get out here, you'll see blue herons, you might even see bald eagles. You did see one this morning, there you go. And especially in this section, the magic of it, for those of you guys who love getting out and kayaking, canoeing in the country, it's amazing. But the magic of this section is you get the city, you even hear the sounds of railroads, but you're covered in trees. You're in the country, but then you have the history of the viaducts and everything. And I just think it's such a magical experience. So where we are today, certainly cleaner than where it was. We have a long way to go. We still have CSOs coming in, into the river. But where it could be, I think, is amazing. When we think about the Crown bike trail coming into here, where people could go around the city and bike into here. One project we're working on literally right over here is to build out a launch deck, a launch ramp. So anyone in the city, imagine, popping down here, 5 minutes away to, just, get in a kayak and canoe and rent a kayak and canoe. Anyone, right in the heart of the city, rather than go out to Little Miami or somewhere else. And imagine a nature trail, all along the Mill Creek. So there's so much more. It's going to take not just political leadership, it's going to take all of you to become advocates for it and in order to build towards that. So I'm super excited. Thank you for the work of the Mill Creek. Thank you for the work of Tri-State Trails, other organizations here, and enjoy the day.
All right, now it's time to go have some fun. If you haven't already registered, do that real quick. As you exit the tent out here, there will be people holding signs up in the air with your different adventures, hike or bike or dam tour. Look for the person with the sign for the adventure you've signed up on. Go out there, have a great time, and we'll see you back here in an hour and a half or so, and we'll have some lunch and do a little more talking. Thanks a lot, everybody. Again, hi, my name is Dave Schmidt. I'm the Executive Director of Mill Creek Alliance. I cannot tell you how thrilled I am to see all of you here this morning and to know that there are this many people that care as deeply about the Mill Creek and about the Mill Creek watershed communities as we do. It's really inspiring, and I hope that the adventure experiences you've had this morning have only whet your appetite to find ways to get out there and do some more, and do more with us and with our partners who are here today, some of whom you'll hear from. I know you're not here to listen to me talk all day, and you'll get a chance to listen to me at the end of the program. I'll talk a little bit longer, but I want to get started and give a chance for some of our great partners and sponsors to say a few words. And to introduce them, I'll hand off to the Mill Creek Alliance Board Chair, John Mangan.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. What a beautiful day to be on the water, isn't it? It's just amazing how nice the water is. How many here had a chance to go paddling? So what did you think about that? Isn't it amazing that that's right there in the inner city, right there with all this going on around it? It's still like a piece of Michigan, down there. Is that okay?
Just gotta lean into the mic a little bit.
Lean in, okay. Anyways, how about the who had a chance to go over to the dam and the paddle house? Now, that's an amazing infrastructure, isn't it? Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing that since the 1940s, that's been protecting this area from flooding, and nobody knows it's there. Nobody even seems to know it's there. It's like so it's kind of the idea that the Mill Creek has so much history and so many mysteries to discover, and people are always amazed what they find when they get down to it. So, as you know, events like this are not easy to take off and to work, and we were lucky that 4 years ago when we had our first one, we had a very generous first sponsor. The Duke Energy Company stepped up, and they were the exclusive sponsor for all 3 years, and they were the financial catalyst that enabled Michelle Gottschalk, one of our board members, and her team to draw this all together, and we've been able to have it at multiple locations along the Mill Creek watershed, and it's been very successful. But we thought, let's get some other people a chance to get involved. Let's broaden the audience. Let's talk to others. And since we had a chance to be in Lower Price Hill, I thought, and others thought, that it would be a natural time to talk to some of the businesses and organizations in Lower Price Hill and get them involved. And I was very happy to have a chance to do that, and I was amazed how much I learned. Greg Lang and myself spent 2 different weeks or so walking around the neighborhood and talking with people, and each day was, I thought, more exciting than the last day. I think Greg would agree. So we decided to have other partners and attract them in. So what's going to be our model for doing this? Well, as you know, our proudest claim to fame is that the Mill Creek has been reborn. That 25 years ago, it was a drainage ditch, a dangerous drainage ditch that everybody avoided, and now it's a live, healthy ecosystem. And that transition we feel real proud about, so we thought, well, let's name our new partners. Let's give them a name from the species now that live in the Mill Creek that didn't live there 25 years ago, and let's call them by some of the species. So that's what we did. So we started with our dragonfly sponsors. And the dragonfly sponsors who support us at that level are Tri-State Wholesale Building Supplies, Body Coat Metal Heat Processing, and Calderas. These are all 3 Lower Price Hill companies. You could walk to the open here. Tri-State Wholesale Building Supplies it's a family-owned company, 50 years in the West End, and when the soccer stadium came, they decided they had to move, but they didn't move out. They decided to move to Lower Price Hill, and they built a new facility there, their headquarters and warehousing and so forth. And they're very proud that they hire local employees, so quite an asset to the community. Now, Body Coat Heat Metal Processing is an international company. They're sponsored, or they're located in England, and they're all over the world. They do all kinds of processes with the metal industry. And Richard Wilson, is Richard here? Yeah, there's Richard Wilson. Mr. Wilson, the general manager, is here with his kids, and we had a long talk, and he was impressing with me that even though Body Coat is huge, they're very responsible citizen, for the environment and the sustainability. So he wanted to be a sponsor and the company to be a sponsor. Thank you. Thank you very much. I don't think Joe Shishak is here, is he? Joe? Calderas is another metal treating industry. There's a lot of metal going on in Lower Price Hill. They're more with coatings and castings and refractory stuff. And they're a Dragonfly sponsor. And what they want to do, he's actively trying to get us involved to create some green spaces in that industrial complex there that's been industrial for 125 years. So we're going to work with him to find spots and turn them green some way to kind of help his employees. So that's our Dragonfly sponsors. Now, once you have those macroinvertebrates and insects, alive, you get fish. And we're very surprised at how fast the fish population has taken off in the Mill Creek. Multiple species. So we thought, well, let's have a sponsor who we can call our striped bass sponsor. And, it's in honor of our striped bass and the other fish that are there. So we put that out there, and one of our partners right here, civil and environmental consultants, Mary McConnell's here for them. They stepped up. They took the bait, as you will, for being a striped bass. I erased that 3 or 4 times, but I thought, come on, put it back in there. So then, once you have the fish swimming around, you're bound to have some birds. And this has become quite the bird watcher's paradise. A lot of people are talking about coming down here to spot various species of birds. And we have the distinction of having 3 types of herons. So we have a black crowned heron, which I guess is rare for this area. So if you have 3 herons in the population, we went out to find 3 blue heron sponsors. And they, again, are this group here, Consolidated Metal Products. Consolidated Metal Products is a very interesting company. They've been involved in this community for 75 years. All kinds of buildings over there are theirs. In fact, when you're over there trying to call on them, you get out of your car, you're afraid you're going to run over by a tow motor because they're coming across the roads and shifting stuff. Patrick Gallagher is here, one of the owners, I believe. Patrick, did you stay? Patrick had to leave, but he and his guests were here. And they were very excited as being a Blue Heron sponsor. Taft's Brewing Company. You've all enjoyed the Taft Ale House and Over the Rhine, and of course the Brewporium in Spring Grove. They're not a Lower Price Hill company, but they certainly are a watershed company. And they were happy to get involved and help us. A friend of mine, Dave Williams, one of the owners, couldn't be here, but he sends his best wishes. And also, this is not a company, but it's an organization, the Season Good Government Foundation, thought that this is the kind of community endeavor that's worth supporting, so they gave us a grant. So that's our Blue Heron group. Maybe give them a little round of applause. And I guess the ultimate, badge of rebirth or of honor is when you start having eagles coming back. And you heard earlier people have spotted eagles, and so that's a badge that we really are proud of. So my understanding is that we have 3 nesting pairs of eagles in the watershed this time right now. 3, that's amazing. So, so of course, you guessed it, we had to find 3 sponsors, 1 for each nest. And we did. And these are the sponsors that we call our Bald Eagle sponsors because they really stepped up to really help us with what we had to do here, above and beyond. Nehemiah Manufacturing Company, the Metropolitan Sewer District of Greater Cincinnati, and Duke Energy again. So we thought, kind of as a special recognition, I wanted to hear a little more from them. So we asked each one of them to step up and say just a few words. So let's start with my good friend Dan Meyer. He's the owner, founder, and CEO of Nehemiah Manufacturing. You see it right across the street here. Dan, come on, say a few words. Watch yourself.
Well, thanks, John. Privileged and honored, humbled to be here. I can't tell you I knew anything about the Mill Creek Alliance until I met John, and it's pretty powerful, as you said, inspirational of what they're doing here. That's kind of what we try to do in the Lower Price Hill community. If you haven't heard of us, we're a Profit with a Purpose company founded 14 years ago, all in the spirit of coming in the inner city to help those in most need. What we found in that journey are those that coming out of prison or jail, when they try to reenter, the most important thing they need is sustainable employment. And that kind of got us rooted into this. Now we provide holistic support. We have 8 pillars of support with social workers. So when we onboard somebody day one, it's what are your dreams? What are the barriers that weigh in your heart, your mind, your soul that prevent you from being the best you can be? And let's start removing those. We're proud to be in Lower Price Hill. I'm West Side, born and raised, Elder High School. A lot of my buddies went to Holy Family, so I know the area well. When we outgrew our place in Queensgate, people wanted to move us outside. I said, no, we're a Christ-driven business. We're going to be where people need us, and this is Lower Price Hill. So this building right across street, 180,000 square feet. We just built another one November, 50,000. We have 225 employees and 160 are second chance. And most of those are coming from the zip codes right here in our community. So thanks for a few minutes. It's really great what they're doing here, and I love to be a part of it.
Thank you, Dan. I mean, isn't that an amazing business model? They're in the, consumer packaged goods, very competitive industry. They're very successful, and they're doing it with, 60, 65, 70% of second chance employees. Very inspirational. He mentioned about West Side. One of the things I noticed over there, I'm from the East Side. I'm from Cleveland originally, but I ended up living on the East Side, so I know this West Side, East Side thing. And I was surprised how many people I talked to just came down the hill from the West Side and were working in Lower Price Hill. So it must be just a natural. They can't get across the Mill Creek. They have to stay on this side. But I don't understand. Anyways, okay. So thank you, Dan. Next, we wanted to have a little chance to talk with MSD, so I've asked Reese Johnson. He's the Superintendent of Compliance Services Division. Reese?
Good morning. Wonderful event, and just 3 things to say from MSD's perspective. We're greatly appreciative, and we're so honored to be able to support the Mill Creek Alliance. What they're doing here in the community and pulling this watershed together. It's great to talk with people who think like watersheds. We think like watersheds, so it's great to see that community. And so we're really proud to be a sponsor of the Mill Creek Alliance and supporting what they're doing. Second, a little shameless plug for us. Actually, we had a little bit of an upset, many of you know, earlier this year, and you would think that something like that would drive a wedge between us. And I'm here to say, and spoke with Dave several times over the last months, and actually it brought us closer together, and we're really proud that that brought us together to help the Mill Creek continue its journey of restoration. Maybe there's some setbacks a day or two here, but where we're going is pretty amazing, and doing it together is the best way to do it. So I really appreciate Mill Creek Alliance's engagement with us and the ability to actually bring things together, bring people together, rather than let things drive us apart. On our side, we're doing a lot of work to keep the Mill Creek clean and trying to get it cleaner. In the first phase of our wet weather program, we're able to reduce our overflows into the Mill Creek and the region's waterways by over half. We're really excited about that. The job is not done, and we're continuing to work on that diligently with the support of our ratepayers. But something I'm really excited about announcing today is something we've been working on for a couple of years, and this community has been strongly advocating for this, and I stand before you really excited to unveil. We went live yesterday with our CSO dashboard. This is a very transparent way of communicating to everybody who uses the Mill Creek what impacts we may be having on it, at what time. So now you're able to go on MSD's website, pull it up. There's a dashboard there that shows in near real time, using the fleet of sensors that we put in at all of our overflow points and in our sewers and everything, near real time status of those overflows. We don't want them to happen. Okay, I don't want anybody to applaud for us having CSO overflows or anything like that. But the point is we're cutting them down. We're continuing to reduce them drastically, And most importantly, we want to make sure the community that's affected knows about them and can make decisions about their engagement and use of the Mill Creek. Because, as has been stated before, it used to be a very dangerous drainage ditch. It is now a thriving ecosystem, and sometimes it rains a lot, and so that alters it. But that doesn't mean it can't continue to be used and continue to improve and continue to get to a place where every day is a clean day in the Mill Creek. So we're really excited about that. I hope you guys enjoy it. I have my iPad if anybody wants to see it after this, but don't miss the speakers or the panel because it's not that exciting. I love it, so. Thank you. We're really excited about it and really want you guys to use it and be able to interact with the information and the data that we've been collecting. And the last, I saw these on the table, and this was my last minute ad, is that we're all here and we're doing great things and we're working together, but we need to take this out and be ambassadors to the people that we work with, the people that we play with, the people that we live with, the people that we interact with, and tell them about the gem that's here. Thank you.
Thank you. That's really good to hear that you're a nonprofit, environmentally focused nonprofit that we can collaborate with MSD, and it's been a good partnership. It's even a better partnership now. So that was good to hear that. Thank you, Reese. Okay, last one person I'd like to introduce is Ryan Gentile. He's the VP of Government Affairs for Duke Energy. And again, Duke is our long-time partner. They stepped up originally and it was just a concept or an idea, and they jumped on board to get it started. They've been the catalyst for 3 years, and now they're joining these other generous sponsors, but they're still kind of the granddaddies of our sponsorship. So I'll turn it over to Ryan. Ryan? Sure.
Thank you. First off, again, thanks for inviting me here, Duke Energy, and it is an honor to be here on behalf of Duke Energy to celebrate this exciting event that's been going on for 4 years now. And I'm happy to say I have been involved in some way from the start. Michelle and Dave and the rest of the Mill Creek Alliance team, when we started this, it was really about let's make sure we get enough people out here, right? And now we're trying to find areas where we can fit all the people. So it's, hats off to everybody. It's a really great accomplishment. Just like all of you here today, right, Duke Energy is deeply interested and invested in enhancing our communities and revitalizing them. Events like this were focused on sustainability, environment, revitalizing the ecosystem are all important. Duke Energy is obviously a sponsor of this, but through our foundation, we've also recently offered or awarded $200,000 in grants that have been focused just on this, right, cleaning up the environment and nature. And over the last 5 years, it's been a total about $1 million, so we're really proud of that. Again, just a privilege to be here. There has been significant work done. I mean, if you've done the canoe rides or you've done the trails, it's impressive, the ecosystem that's been built back up, and really just an opportunity for people in the future to continue to enjoy what the Mill Creek has to offer in the benefits of nature and just being outside. So thank you. Happy to be a sponsor and hope everybody had a great day.
Thank you, Ryan. Look forward to a continued relationship with Duke Energy. So how about a big round of applause for our financial sponsors, just for the overall good night. Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you. Great job. Now, I'd be remiss, it isn't just financial partners, it's also, community and event partners, people that step up to develop or to give other resources, like their people, their expertise, their talent, their volunteer things. So we had a huge number of event partners. And because of time, I've been asked not to read the whole list, even though you can see it at various things. But I feel I have to point out a couple that have been involved for a while and have worked really hard with this. Not to say the other ones aren't important, but these three kind of stick out. Great Parks of Hamilton County, and Tri-State Trails, and this year Hamilton County Planning and Development. So those three really is event sponsors. But there were many more. And again, if I had time, I would read them. And then the last thing is community partners, not organizations, not nonprofits necessarily, but community organizations. that helped out. And we got a number of those from Lower Price Hill. But again, the list is fairly long, but you have to mention the police department, their police academy, and their supply unit for letting us use the property. So thank you very much to the police department. Very helpful stuff. Okay, I'm going to turn it back to Dave now because I wanted to spend a little more time talking about the fantastic staff at the Mill Creek Alliance that punches way, way above their weight, and our very active board members. They don't get enough attention. I'd like to point them all right now in the yacht club, but they told me my time is up, so I'm going to turn it back to Dave and let him take care of that. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, your time's way up, John. Well, you know, that's a hard act to follow, but I would indeed be really remiss if I didn't recognize the incredible staff and the incredible number of board members from Mill Creek Alliance who work so hard and with such passion and such energy every day, not only to pull off this event, but to do all of our work. It's truly an inspiring group of people. They make my job as executive director easy. I love coming to work every day. I was an environmental attorney for 25 years and still talk with a lot of my former partners, and they ask me all the time, you know, don't you miss litigation? Don't you miss the adrenaline of the courtroom? Not a single day. I would not give up this gig and go back for the world. I love what I'm doing, and I love what we are doing together. So I would ask a round of applause for the Mill Creek Alliance staff and board members who are all here. All right, well, let's get going with the next part of our program, which is going to be exciting. We have a great panel discussion that's going to be moderated by Ethan Emery of Fox 19, a meteorologist and a multimedia journalist, some of whom we've seen around today doing interviews and taking lots of pictures. So Ethan is going to be our moderator. I'd invite our three panelists to come up to the table here, and those panelists are Todd Palmatier, CEO of Great Parks of Hamilton County, Tim Heil, Division Manager of Recreation and Programs for Cincinnati Recreation Commission, and Jason Barron, the Director of Cincinnati Parks.
Thank you very much. So this is a really great turnout. I mean, this is the first time I've been covering this, but I'm looking forward to covering this in years to come. But thank you, gentlemen, for being up here. So this is a really great turnout because of the fact that we're in the city here in Lower Price Hill. Because in the past, this has been just in the county, but not focused here in the city. And, you know, it's providing opportunity to highlight all the importance that Mill Creek has to offer here in Hamilton as well as into Butler County. So, you know, being in the media, sometimes you see these leaders coming together. Sometimes there are differences and things that happen, but the leadership here is all coming together quite well. And so, with that being said, there's a lot of collaboration with the county, the city, and obviously, you know, the Mill Creek Alliance. So, working together with this leadership, talk to us about some of the challenges as well as the successes you guys have had working together.
I mean, there's all kinds of opportunities for the three organizations to work together, right? Just this week, I was talking to both Todd and Daniel Betts, the Director of Recreation, about the Otter Arm Leader Park, right, which is Parks property, has facilities for great parks, and also has some recreation facilities, all there together in one spot, working together, and just, you know, again, what it all comes down to is making great spaces for people to be outside, to enjoy being out in the environment, out in nature, and so, you know, it's really easy to collaborate when you've got that kind of a mission ahead of you.
think the one thing I'd add from the Cincinnati Recreation Commission's perspective is that, this collaboration, just being here today, the three of us being up here, as well as our director, Daniel Betts, who just walked in as well, that conversation has been starting. We were all three on the hike together, so we were all talking about different ways we could, and it's that kind of casual conversation, I think, that we don't get in our work lives, that today provided that kind of opportunity to casually talk about opportunities for us to work together, and really great to kind of get to know these two guys a little bit better today.
Yeah, I will say in my 20 years, it's never been a problem to partner with the other rec entities in this community, city specifically, but all the others. Picking up the phone, calling, scheduled a meeting, asking to do something. We've been together. Daniel and I were here with a group, hosted a group from Lexington in the community, talked about all the amazing things we're doing. By the way, that same group, we saw a bald eagle when we were hiking Lick Run. The same day we were out there, Wade was with us as well. But that's what I would say for the 20 years. I worked on Arm Leader Park when I started, and 20 years later, we're still doing it, still successful. It's growing more than ever. The fact that we can all work together so easily, our concern is providing the best parks for the community. We don't care about boundary lines and whose taxes whose. We need to serve the residents of the community.
Yeah. So could you guys kind of elaborate some of the challenges that brought us to where we are today, and with the collaboration you guys have worked together, what are some of the challenges you guys have faced?
Yeah, I think challenges, back to my former point, there were barriers. There were people who thought we should operate as separate entities and stay in our own silos and not partner, not work together. And it took a while to overcome that. It's not just leadership, it takes support from elected officials and willing staff to be able to come together. It takes groups like Mill Creek Alliance, Green Umbrella, Tri-State Trails to also be a part of that conversation. And it's not always easy. We deal with a lot of perceptions of government, and that's probably one of our biggest challenges. But the leadership we have now in place, these agencies, I know it's not going to be an issue going forward.
Anything else you want to add, or?
I mean, in general, I don't like to focus on challenges, right?
Yeah. Right.
There's just opportunities, right? And today we're seeing a great opportunity, right? The Mill Creek has been an opportunity for a long time, and we've seen how far it's come over the last 20 or so years. And just today, whether you're biking along it, or whether you're hiking around it, or whether you're canoeing up the Mill Creek, to see the amount of opportunity that there is there to make another great space, right? And it's already great, but to figure out how to like bring that together and to make that a permanent thing that folks can come and enjoy and kind of learn about, where we were and why we got there, but then also where we are and where we can be. It's just an amazing opportunity. And so I think that, and everybody in this room is kind of focused on opportunities, right? That's why we're all here. And so I just think that rather than focus on challenges, there's always just this great faith to say, what's next? What can we do? What is the partnership we can develop to make things even better in the future?
Yeah, and thank you guys for answering that, because I asked that because you don't see many challenges. You guys have worked really hard together, making this event possible, making Mill Creek where it is today. And to segue off of what you were saying is that, Mill Creek has a lot of opportunities for recreation, kayaking, canoeing, the bike trails, the walking and hiking trails. So, obviously it's really important to have those things here in Cincinnati as well as in the Hamilton and Butler counties. But what goals would you want to further elaborate on of having those kind of things to do around Mill Creek?
We're all looking at each other like, hey, this is the hardest question yet. What are you going to do? I think, I think one thing is, there's a lot of different land ownership pieces, and then there's some activity pieces. The CRC doesn't particularly do nature trails well, but Cincinnati Parks does, and the Hamilton County Parks does. I think it's thinking about ways where each of these agencies can capitalize on our strengths, use those strengths to kind of move each mission forward, which is serving the public, like we've all three agreed on. And, to the earlier question, we talked about challenges. I think challenges get a lot easier when you have the right leaders in place and the right leaders talking to each other. And that's clearly what we have right now with the three agencies. So I think any challenge or collaboration we see moving forward should be much easier than I think it was in the past.
Agreed. I also think as you think about like what's next here, the important thing to think about, and I think you joked that we were all looking at each other, but when you create these great spaces, right, oftentimes there's all this momentum to go get a grant or get donations or contributors or sponsors to help build something. But then the three of us up here have to figure out how to manage it, how to run it, how to keep it clean, how to keep it nice, how to take care of the trees and make sure that there's not, when there's limbs that fall, that you get them clear, or that when something happens that you take care of it, whether it's mowing or planting things. And those ongoing things often get left behind, right? You know, and the city just passed its budget just on Wednesday. And you got to figure out how to then use the resources you have to take care of stuff. So while we're always in growth mode and trying to figure out how to add spaces and add awesome spots, one of the things we have to always remember is how do you keep that maintenance up going forward, whether it's volunteers or whether it's new resources. You know, how do we support that kind of, what do we believe in, right? Well, we believe in great public spaces in Cincinnati. Then do we back that up with tax dollars or with the commitment of public resources to keep those spaces awesome? So.
Okay. And along with that, I mean, how can we all collectively work together, not just amongst the city and the county, but also too amongst volunteers? Like, are there any goals or initiatives to get volunteers involved in, you know, furthering this project?
I mean, at Parks, we love to talk about volunteers. Just on the back, we have a poster that is, we love our volunteers, right? Cincinnati Parks.
Yeah, right.
3,600 volunteers, 46,000 hours. I guess at an annual rate of $28.54, very specific number, but that's over $1.3 million of benefit that our Cincinnati Parks volunteers bring to the 5,000 acres that we manage every year. And so I'm guessing that many people in this room are Cincinnati Parks volunteers, and we love it, right? That's the bread and butter of how we get things done, and I think that's true. I know it's true at Great Parks. Recreation has amazing volunteers, but that's one of the key secret sauces to how we can make these great spaces awesome.
And I would add with volunteers, there's the on the grounds work that needs to be done, but there's a ton of advocacy work that needs to be done, fundraising work that needs to be done, grant work that needs to be done, and anyone who has a passion outside of the boots on the ground work and interest in those, everyone in this room could use that help because we're all doing the same thing. I've joked before that we'll be sitting in a meeting about trails, and I said, I guarantee there's another group somewhere else in the city having pretty much the same meeting and the same conversation. And it's a good thing in that we're all talking about it. It's gained a lot of momentum, I would say, specifically to the Mill Creek. I think a lot of people might think the west side of the Mill Creek's not getting any focus. It's not that. It's just we're doing so many projects on the east. The west is still getting attention, getting more attention the more than I've seen in the last 2 years. And I would also just note for volunteers, geographically, we got city opportunities, we've got, you know, middle Mill Creek opportunities, and we've got far north opportunities where you can get involved in your local community. You don't have to get in a car or go anywhere else. You can stay local and get involved. We appreciate that.
I think the only thing I would add is that I think what all three of us would agree on is that government cannot do this alone. We need the folks in this room continuing to work and advocate. So any new projects that do come on board with the three of us, we'll still need your support, your hard work. You can't take the foot off the gas just because, Cincinnati Rec has this piece now, they've got it under control. We're still going to definitely need all of your help and support, your knowledge, your continued involvement to make these projects successful and keep them sustainable.
Okay. And one last question is, when I was doing my interviews before this all started, something that was often coming up, not just opportunities, but also excitement. Can you guys kind of talk about the excitement of what has happened so far and what the excitement holds for the future?
I think one of the pieces of excitement for me personally is just kind of the biking trail system that is starting to kind of materialize around the city. And a lot of us, all three agencies are involved in that in some capacity. We all have paved trails that connect the city, but I'm a person that does some frequent last mile bike commuting into downtown Cincinnati a couple days a week. And I just notice our city is very fragmented from a bike, infrastructure standpoint. So I think this Mill Creek Greenway Trail, expanding that, making that more accessible to the west side is really exciting. And I think if the three agencies here can be a part of that, I think we'd love to see what we can make happen.
Tim, that was like a perfect segue into our next speaker, wasn't it? Right? As we're getting ready to welcome Wade up here to talk about the Crown Network. But I think that's absolutely right. I mean, the amount of excitement that's being generated around that, and it's the old, if you build it, they will come, right? The Wasson Way as the kind of first piece of what will be the crown, or at least the first piece of kind of once we started to stitch it together. It's just such an awesome experience, right? And anybody that's been out there and rode on it and gotten to experience that, red bike coming soon to the Wasson Way, it's just an awesome spot, right? People are walking, people are riding, dogs are getting walked, kids are playing, but what you see on all of those faces are smiles, right? And I think that's the biggest judge of how excited are people, right? Or how much are they smiling? And I know today there's been a lot of smiles, but anytime you interact with any of these pieces of infrastructure, you're seeing people smiling, people having fun, and that's what makes it a joy to get to do what we get to do, right? To get to work in Parks and Rec and get to help make all those smiles happen is just a joy, right? And I think that excitement comes through just everywhere you look.
I'll close out. We done?
I think we are.
Yeah, no, I will say the same thing. I talk to my staff a lot about what an exciting time post pandemic awareness of environmental issues, wellness issues. It only makes it that much more exciting, and people being outdoors and outdoor spaces. We love what we do. It's easy to come to work every day when we get to provide these types of opportunities. And yes, we're very excited. I got 12 years of retirement, so I got a lot of work to do.
All right, well, I get to interview you guys all the time for our segments and stuff, and I'm excited to see more of this progress going on. I'm excited to see what has happened so far. So thank you, gentlemen, for all that what you guys are doing. Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, well, as one of our panelists mentioned, and making the perfect segue, the next person we'd like to invite to the stage is one of our closest partners, Wade Johnson from Tri-State Trails. I can't count almost the number of projects that we are working on now in collaboration with Tri-State Trails. It has really just grown by leaps and bounds over the last 2 or 3 years. The Mill Creek Greenway Trail expansion, bringing it all the way down to the Ohio River, what we call the Triangle Trail concept, where we're trying to connect various great parks, Sharon Woods, Winton Woods, and the Mill Creek Corridor, and a host of others. So I think that Wade and Tri-State Trails, and I know there's other staff here today, we have such a great working relationship and really are in sync with each other. So many of our projects complement each other, and they're just a joy to work with. So Wade, come on up.
Thanks, Dave. That was so nice. I'm honored that they invite me back here every year because 2 years ago I tipped with an elected official in the boat. But yeah, we won't name her. As we've heard from so many elected officials around the room and so many of our local government leaders, the Mill Creek is really an asset, and we must continue to invest in this asset so that more people outside of this tent see it as an asset. I think there's so much opportunity to overcome the history of the Mill Creek. We've made so much progress, and the trails are really a tool that enable us to expedite that progress. Lower Price Hill is a unique community here at the confluence of the Mill Creek and the Ohio River. And right now it's very bisected from downtown. For people, especially who are walking and biking, you've got like 3 main thoroughfares that connect you to downtown, and all of them feel a little treacherous to bike on or to walk on. US 50, 8th Street Viaduct, State Street, for example. Trails can be the tool to reconnect these communities to downtown and to other neighborhoods so that not just the east side has access to trails, but our center city and west side does as well. Our team is really encouraged by the support of so many people who come out and support this event and care about organizations like the Mill Creek Alliance, and especially when we see this collaboration happening between our local government agencies. What they're up here talking about they make it seem kind of matter of fact, but it's not easy always to have collaboration, and these guys are doing it really well. So I want to give props to CRC and Parks and Great Parks for working together and making so much progress. Together, these partners are making progress in what we're facing, an unprecedented moment of so much federal funding coming down the pipeline. I think it's worth taking some time, walking around the room, look at all these maps. There's a lot of projects that are happening, and I want to call out a couple that are relevant to this community here. So the City of Cincinnati, DOTE, they got a RAISE grant, $20 million to rebuild Lynn Street through the West End and improve the 8th Street Viaduct so that there is a safe connection for walking and biking to this community so it doesn't feel so bisected. A little upstream, we've got the Western Hills Viaduct, like a $350 million project that's going to, I believe, transform the connection from the west side to downtown. And there's going to be a trail on that project, which is going to be awesome. I mean, even the Brent Spence Bridge is something that is going to be when it's rebuilt, has this unique opportunity to re-stitch together the neighborhoods from downtown to Lower Price Hill, Queensgate, Camp Washington, all the way up the stream. And the trail projects that we're working on to glue all these neighborhoods back together are really important. The Crown building this loop around the city, the Wassam Way and the Little Miami Scenic Trail and the Ohio River Trail are all in motion. And pretty soon we're going to have 24 miles of the 34-mile loop connected. And that's really exciting. So we're in the planning stages right now with Mill Creek Alliance, with all the agencies around the room to figure out how do we activate the Mill Creek and connect the trail from where it ends in North Side or Millvale down to Lower Price Hill. And we need all of you guys to make it happen. We need all of these local government agencies to continue to work together. You know, Evans Field right here and Solway Park up at the top. It's a CRC facility, and we're really fortunate to have their leadership at the table. In the middle, we've got MSD managing Lick Run. You know, this is another beautiful public space. It's like Smale Park right there. It's that level of investment. Like, we got to connect the trail between all these places. We've got DOTE working on all these roadway projects, rethinking how bike infrastructure is invested in the city. Further north, we've got great parks with Sharon Woods, Glenwood Gardens, Winton Woods, where we're trying to extend this Mill Creek Triangle Trail to connect into the center of Hamilton County. Along the way, we've got projects or parks like La Boida Woods and Parker Woods and Caldwell Park, where we can stitch together Cincinnati Park property. I've had a lot of people tell me how excited they are about the progress that they're seeing here today, and I am too. But you know what? The work that's happening right now was work that was started 5 years ago. And where we are right now is we got to start laying the groundwork for those next couple pieces that are going to make the connections. And I think it's really thanks to all these organizations who have come together and are collaborating that we're able to see this progress. The essence of this work really is collaboration and using the strengths of each organization to make progress in the right direction. I'm optimistic and hopeful for the future, and I think the overarching message I have for everybody is we can do it. We got to keep working together, and let's build some more trail. Thanks.
All right. Well, gosh, thanks, Wade. You know, as Wade and several others have pointed out, you know, we can't do this alone. You know, Mill Creek Alliance is a small but mighty organization that punches above its weight. Tri-State Trails is a small but mighty organization that punches above its weight. But we can't do this alone. You know, no matter how hard we work and how passionate we are, we need the help of everybody here. And I think a symbol of that is the support of elected officials from diverse parts of our watershed that have come together and are part of this effort. And several of those folks are here today, and I'd like to invite some of them to come up and say a few words. So first off, I'd like to invite State Representative for Ohio District 26, Cedric Denson, who also now has a job as Admiral of the Yacht Club.
Thank you, and good afternoon to everyone. Wade, I was the honorary admiral, so I wouldn't have to ride the boat with you wherever you are. It certainly is a pleasure to be here on today, listening to that panel. I wish you all could go to Columbus with me and we could have conversations like that. It would make things a lot easier, but it is a pleasure to be here with you all today. I have my sidekick, son Harper here, who's also my photographer for today. And I want to say Happy Father's Day to all the fathers that may be here as well. But there is a lot going on that you all are doing, and I just wanted to take a minute to specifically extend my support for the planning initiative by linking the Mill Creek Greenway Trail to the Urban Crown Network and the Suburban Triangle Trail Alliance. That is also something to be commended. But the reality is that this work has always been very passionate and close to me. Prior to my time at the State House, I served with the Ohio Environmental Council, and I decided to run for office, and here we are today. But I pay attention to these kind of things, and I try to highlight these things in the committees that I serve on at the State House because they're important. This is reconnecting people back to nature. And the way that this group has come together and collaboratively worked together is truly to be commended. It is doing things for people in communities that they didn't even know exist. My son finally got excited about coming outdoors to do something and not actually be on a video game. So being able to do these things, it really does matter. It puts us all together in the room, and it does what we should be doing, and that's uniting communities. So thanks again for the opportunity to be here, and I'm always going to be here as an advocate to do whatever I can to make things happen. Thanks a lot.
Don't have to duck under this that one. Our next speaker has been a true champion of the Mill Creek and of the environment as a whole in Cincinnati. I was honored recently to serve as the chair of the Natural Environment Subcommittee for the Green Cincinnati Plan, and the leader of that overall planning effort and champion of that plan on City Council is here with us today, Council Member Mika Owens. Oh, did she leave? Yeah. Sorry. Wow, that was a great intro, too. All right. Well, Mika could not be here with us today to accept the award. I'll accept it on her behalf. I spoke to her earlier. She really has been an amazing champion, and as the leader of the Green Cincinnati Plan effort, with her guidance and with her advocacy, I think that plan has made tremendous progress and will really guide our efforts in the city and beyond for the next 5 years. So shout out to Mika. Sorry she couldn't be here. All right. Next person I'd like to invite to the podium is, I'm proud to say, is a board member of the Mill Creek Alliance as well, but doing amazing work bringing Lincoln Heights back into prominence, back to the attention it deserves with environmental projects and economic redevelopment projects and beautification projects, and that is Mayor Ruby Kinsey Mumphrey from Lincoln Heights.
Well, Dave, you really made me sound very good. And thank you so much. It is truly an honor to be here, and I'm just very excited about where the Mill Creek Alliance has taken me. I know I was honored to become part of their board member earlier this year. I'm like, I don't know anything. They're like, keep coming, you're going to learn. So I've had some great teachers, Dave, along with Wade with the Tri-State Trails, and I'm going to say our captain, Michelle. I was like, where is she at? She's somewhere around, and making us stay with the focus. But I'm coming today to talk not just as a board member, but as a mayor for the village of Lincoln Heights. And Lincoln Heights, you know, our community is now becoming more diverse with our population turning into Latino, African Americans and whites as well. So we're very excited on where Lincoln Heights is heading. We identified, no, we're not close to the Mill Creek, but we're close enough to find opportunities. But as a mayor, you want to make sure that you are in the room when people are having the conversations, and you take that information and you take it back to your fellow council members. So it has been interesting trying to get the elected officials on board to what we would like to see our residents partake in, and educating them through our schools, through our churches, just letting them know that we need to get on the bus like everybody else, and they're very excited, and I'm so thankful that they're wanting to be a part of the Tri-State Trails and connecting Woodlawn and Lincoln Heights and Laughlin, where us little small villages sometimes we're forgotten about. So it's a very exciting opportunity, and it's allowing me to talk to my other colleague mayors around the Tri-State Trails and the Mill Creek, West Fork, and just letting them know that we need to do what we need to do for our residents, giving them the resource information and making them understand how important the Mill Creek when it comes to recreation and tri-state trails and being able to bicycling. We want to be in that era like everybody else. So I'm just truly honored, and thank you, Dave, and everyone else part of the Mill Creek Alliance. I'm just very thankful. And for those small communities, the sky is the limit for our small communities and villages and townships to reach out to our communities and let them know that this recreation opportunity exists, and it's continued to be even better year over year. So thank you for the opportunity to come and speak to everyone, and God bless you all, and happy Father's Day to you fathers.
Thank you, Ruby. And our last elected official I'd like to invite to the podium is, again, someone I'm proud to say is also a board member of the Mill Creek Alliance, who's young and dynamic and a real advocate for his community, doing exciting things for the city of Forest Park, and that is Mayor Aaron Brown.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Wow, this is a really good crowd, good turnout. So I want to thank Dave and the Mill Creek Collaborative for inviting me today. I made this joke last year. There are now bodies floating on the Mill Creek. So 25 years ago, that would have been a different conversation that we're having. But we are proud today to see that it is in a positive light, that people are getting out and enjoying nature, enjoying the environment. So the work that the Mill Creek Collaborative has done, or Alliance has done, to clean up this watershed has just been tremendous. It's been transformative, and I'm really proud to be a part of this distinguished organization that is continuing to do work. But not only that, I'm proud to be amongst so many advocates for community out here, as I see Tri-State Trails and Crown, and then I see Jason with Cincy Parks, but formerly of Red Bike Cincinnati. So this is exactly what we should be going after to improve our entire region. A lot of times in Cincinnati, we think about, what high school did you go to? Or what neighborhood are you from? Are you east side or are you west side? Or are you in the suburbs or are you in the city, right? But what I told Forest Park when I ran is that if you want something that you've never had before, you have to do something you've never done. And that means connecting with other individuals who care about the same things that you care about, who share the same values. And obviously, everyone here cares about the environment. Everyone here cares about parks and trails and bikes and being active, and obviously good food, because the food was really good. And this is how you build community. And it's really that simple. We often find reasons to argue and create divisions and separate us, But in order to grow our region, in order to become more prosperous, we have to figure out what shared values do we have and what unites us. And what unites us is a lot more things that unite us than divide us. So thank you for allowing me to speak amongst you. Thank you for your continued efforts in whatever you do. Thank you for coming out tonight. Thank you for your service. And I just want to leave everybody with this quote. I stole it from somewhere, but if service is beneath you, then leadership is beyond you. If service is beneath you, and leadership is beyond you. And everybody here is a service to the community and to growing our region. So you are all leaders in your respective fields. And I want to thank everybody for coming out today.
Wow, that's a hard act to follow. All right, well, so the last person you got to put up with and listen to today is me. And I will try not to go on very long, but as an ex-lawyer, I'm used to getting paid by the word, so I do tend to go on sometimes. That's why John's in the audience giving me this sometimes. This is truly an amazing day. This event has grown by leaps and bounds every year for 4 years, and it shows the amazing level of support in the community throughout the watershed for the restoration of the Mill Creek, for the restoration of the Mill Creek corridor, but also the recognition of what that restoration of the Mill Creek corridor can mean for all of our watershed communities. I mean, it truly can be the catalyst for economic redevelopment, for healthier recreation, for creating connections to jobs, creating connections to health clinics, to groceries and food desert communities. I mean, it really can serve as the catalyst of so many good things, but only, again, as we've all said so many times today, only if we all come together and work for it. Sort of the theme of today is that the Mill Creek is a hidden gem. And it truly is a gem. I mean, we've talked about how 25 years ago it was declared the most endangered urban stream in North America. And today, you all got to experience what it has now become, a place where we can go paddling, a place where we take people fly fishing, a place where we can take school groups and get out in the creek and look at all the little critters that live under the rocks. I'm a little bit of a bird watching geek, so I'll just share a very brief story that, about 10 days ago, I was out here, we were scoping some things out for this event, and I was walking along the access road back behind the police academy, and I was just hearing lots of birds. And I have an app on my phone called Merlin that you can just turn it on and it'll identify the birds by their calls for you. And I turned it on and I let it run for 1 minute and 15 seconds. And it identified 12 species of birds just in 1 minute and 15 seconds. And again, a little bit of a bird geek, but several of those species were species that you would normally only expect to find in really wooded areas, like if you're a bird watcher, vireos or woodland birds. A lot of those species are in this beautiful green corridor with all this tree cover right along the Mill Creek, surrounded by a very developed area. But the Mill Creek is this beautiful green corridor that connects our entire greater Cincinnati community. So it truly is a gem, but as much as it has become a gem, it truly is hidden. Today you got to experience part of the gem part of it. You also got to experience the hidden part of it. You guys saw how hard it is to get to the creek in certain places and in many places. We at the Mill Creek Alliance, our friends at the Mill Creek Yacht Club, our friends at Tri-State Trails, we are not shy people. We bushwhack, we create paths where there are no paths. But even for us, it's hard to get to the creek in this community and in many other places in the lower watershed and many other places in the northern part of the watershed. We have to do a much better job of connecting the creek with the community. I mean, historically, we're the ones who separated these communities from the stream. You know, we channelized parts of the stream. We built fences. And much like the stream itself, many of our communities, especially our lower watershed communities, they too have been hidden. They've been hidden from the attention of the rest of greater Cincinnati. You know, they've been cut off from each other. They've been cut off from downtown. And in some cases, literally cut in half. And now our job, as we are poised to restore the Mill Creek and all the benefits that can come with that, our job is to make sure that we are restoring our communities and neighborhoods at the same time. We cannot do one without the other. The restoration of Mill Creek and the potential benefits will never come to pass unless we are also restoring our communities and making sure that the folks that live in these communities have a seat at the table and are part of planning all of this from day one. So I urge you, each in your own capacity, as Aaron said, each of you are leaders. Each of you are advocates. Within your own realms, within your own networks, advocate for this. Work for it. Come together with us. I've been with Mill Creek Alliance for going on 7 years now, and the amount of progress I've seen in that time is truly amazing. There's stuff happening that I never would have dreamed would have been possible, much less what the folks who started Mill Creek Alliance 25 years ago thought would have been possible at that time. I mean, you had to be insane 25 years ago to look at Mill Creek and say, I think I can do something about that. You know, that you got to have the long-term vision, and this is a long game, and we've got to be in it together. So I urge you to go out as you leave here today and think about how we can work together to make all of these great projects on all of these posters come to pass. And we will. Make no mistake, we will do this. Thank you for coming today.